Hey everyone, we've got an exciting, eye-opening topic today. Have you ever noticed how some countries are starting to grow suspicious of China's influence? It's something that's happening all over the world, from the west to the east, and we're here to break it all down for you. Today, we're counting down the 10 countries where Chinese are becoming suspicious. This is a must-watch list if you're into world politics, economics, or even just curious about global trends. So, let's get into it. Before we start, we worked hard on this video, so please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Let's jump in. Number 10, Australia. Australia has long benefited from its economic relationship with China, especially as Chinese demand for Australian natural resources skyrocketed in the past decade. But recently, the mateship has taken a turn. Australians are becoming increasingly suspicious of Chinese investment and political influence. It's not just about buying houses, although that's a hot topic. It's about the whole economic landscape. The growing Chinese presence in Australia's real estate market has led to fears of China gaining too much control over vital national assets. Aussies are fiercely proud of their land, and it's easy to see why. But when foreign investors start scooping up prime properties and strategic industries, it gets people wondering, who's really in charge here? It's like having a guest who stays way longer than you expected, and then starts redecorating. In addition to economic concerns, there have been allegations of Chinese political interference, prompting the Australian government to pass laws aimed at curbing foreign influence. Public opinion polls show that more Australians are becoming wary of China's ambitions, leading to increased diplomatic tension between the two nations. Number 9, India. India and China, neighbors, but not exactly friendly neighbors. Their complex relationship has been marked by territorial disputes, military standoffs, and trade competition. Tensions peaked in 2020 with deadly clashes along the line of actual control, LAC, in the Himalayas. Since then, anti-China sentiment has grown among the Indian public, fueled by nationalist rhetoric and concerns over Chinese expansionism. They say good fences make good neighbors, but what do you do when your neighbor keeps moving the fence? India and China have been arguing over that fence for decades, and it doesn't look like it's getting resolved anytime soon. Besides the border issues, India has been suspicious of Chinese tech companies like Huawei and TikTok, with the government banning several Chinese apps citing security concerns. Indian consumers are increasingly avoiding Chinese-made products, and the government is pushing for self-reliance to reduce dependence on Chinese imports. Can you imagine telling over 1 billion people, hey, we're going to stop using Chinese apps? Well, India did. And let's just say people weren't too thrilled about it. But hey, national security comes first, right? Number 8, Canada. Canada. The land of politeness, peace, and growing suspicion toward China? Yep, even in the Great White North, things are getting frosty when it comes to China's influence. The arrest of Huawei's CFO Meng Wanzhou in 2018 kicked off a diplomatic crisis between Canada and China. Since then, Canadians have become increasingly skeptical of Chinese intentions, especially regarding tech companies, espionage, and political interference. Who knew that Canada, famous for being so nice, would find itself caught in the middle of a tech and diplomatic standoff? I mean, this is the country that apologizes when you bump into them, but they're not backing down from China. Huawei's involvement in Canada's 5G network has sparked fierce debates, with many concerned about potential risks to national security. At the same time, China's treatment of Canadian citizens, including the detention of 2 Canadians in apparent retaliation for Meng's arrest, has added fuel to the fire. Number 7, United States. It's no secret that relations between the United States and China are tense, to say the least. From trade wars to accusations of intellectual property theft, the list of grievances goes on and on. Public suspicion toward China has been on the rise for years, especially after the US government cracked down on Chinese tech companies like Huawei and TikTok over fears of spying. Ah, the good old US of America, known for its apple pie, freedom, and lately, its suspicion of China. It's like watching two heavyweight boxers circling each other, waiting for the next big punch. Except the punches here are tariffs and tech bans. The US government has also raised concerns about Chinese espionage and academic collaborations, leading to increased scrutiny of Chinese students and researchers in American universities. And let's not forget about the trade war, which has impacted everything from farming to electronics. These issues have only deepened the public's mistrust of China. Let's be honest, when you start a trade war, it's like flipping a table at family dinner. Everyone's tense, no one's getting dessert, and somebody's definitely getting grounded. Number 6. Vietnam. Vietnam has a complicated history with China. Despite being close neighbors and major trade partners, Vietnam remains suspicious of China's growing influence, particularly in the South China Sea. The two countries have competing territorial claims over this crucial waterway, leading to heightened tensions in recent years. Imagine having a neighbor who keeps borrowing your lawnmower and then claims that your yard is actually their yard. Yeah, that's kind of what's happening between Vietnam and China over the South China Sea. In Vietnam, there's widespread public distrust of China's intentions. Anti-China protests have erupted over issues like territorial disputes and Chinese factories polluting local environments. Despite their economic ties, these underlying tensions continue to shape Vietnam's cautious stance toward its giant neighbor. Number 5. Japan. Japan and China may be geographically close, but politically, they're worlds apart. Japan is wary of China's growing military presence in the region, particularly in the East China Sea. Both countries lay claim to the Senkaku Diaoyu Islands, a dispute that's been simmering for years. If there's one thing the Japanese love, it's harmony and precision. Just look at their trains. But when it comes to dealing with China, they're not exactly in tune. It's more like two musicians trying to play completely different songs at the same time. Japan's government has strengthened its military capabilities in response to China's rise, and public opinion surveys show that many Japanese are skeptical of China's intentions. Japan is also concerned about China's political influence in other parts of Asia, leading to a cautious and often strained relationship. Number 4. United Kingdom. Across the pond, the UK is also growing suspicious of China, especially after the controversy surrounding Huawei's role in its 5G network. The British government ultimately decided to phase out Huawei's equipment, citing national security concerns. This move signals a major shift in the UK's approach to China, and public sentiment has followed suit. Even in the land of tea and crumpets, folks are starting to get nervous about China's influence. Who would have thought that a tech company could cause such a stir? It's like mixing oil and Earl Grey. The UK's relationship with China was further strained by the political situation in Hong Kong. As protests erupted in the former British colony, many in the UK began to question China's commitment to the one country, two systems principle. This has fueled a growing skepticism about China's broader political ambitions. Number 3. Philippines. The Philippines, like Vietnam, is locked in a territorial dispute with China over the South China Sea. Despite close economic ties, many Filipinos are deeply suspicious of China's territorial ambitions. The Philippine government has even taken China to an international court over its claims to the sea, and public sentiment is increasingly anti-China. Filipinos love their beautiful beaches, but they're not thrilled about China trying to claim the waters around them. It's like inviting a guest to your beach party, only for them to take over the whole thing. This mistrust extends beyond the territorial disputes. There's also concern about Chinese investments in the Philippines, particularly in infrastructure projects. Many worry that these projects could increase the country's dependence on China making it harder to push back on other issues. Number 2, Germany. Germany is Europe's largest economy, and it's becoming increasingly wary of China's growing influence. Chinese companies have been snapping up German tech firms, leading to fears of industrial espionage and loss of critical technology. Public opinion has soured on China, with many Germans viewing these acquisitions as part of a broader strategy to undermine Europe's economic and technological leadership. Germany is known for its precision engineering, but when it comes to China's growing presence in their economy, let's just say the gears are grinding a little slower. They're not about to let anyone hijack their tech expertise. In addition to economic concerns, Germany is also keeping a close eye on China's political influence in Europe. The German government has called for a more united European approach to dealing with China, particularly on issues like trade and technology. And at number 1, we have Taiwan. No surprises here. China considers Taiwan a breakaway province, but Taiwan sees itself as a separate, sovereign state. This unresolved political situation has led to growing tensions, with many Taiwanese increasingly wary of China's intentions. In recent years, China has stepped up its military presence around Taiwan, conducting naval drills and flying jets near the island. This one's a no-brainer. Taiwan and China are like two sides of a coin, except one side wants complete control over the other, and the other side is just trying to live its best life. Public sentiment in Taiwan is overwhelmingly suspicious of China, and the government has ramped up its defenses in response to the growing threat. Many in Taiwan fear that China's ultimate goal is reunification by force, which has only deepened the divide between the two. And there you have it, 10 countries where the Chinese are becoming suspicious. From territorial disputes to economic concerns, these countries are keeping a close eye on China's influence and intentions. It's a complex world out there, and understanding these tensions is key to making sense of global politics. So, what do you think? Did we miss any countries? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's start a conversation. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.